Dear learners, welcome you all in another session of the course Systematics of Angiosperm. Today we are going to explore another monocot family, that is Liliaceae, which is commonly called as lily family, which has a very familiar members like aloe vera, garlic. These are the some common members of this particular family. So now moving towards the systematic position of this particular family Liliaceae. First of all, as I have told you, according to Bentham and Hooker system of classification, this particular family is placed in monocotyledonine, which has a one cotyledon, and the series of this particular family is coronary. So it is belong to the monocots and the series is coronary, and in the coronary the family is Liliaceae, which we will going to explore today. And if we compare the systematic position of family Liliaceae with Bentham, Hooker and England parental system, we have already seen that this particular family is belong to the monocotyledonine and the series is coronary, while England and parental place this family also in monocotyledonine and in the subclass, that is the Liliales or liliflora. So this is the systematic position of the family Liliaceae, and the series is coronary, which has a characterized by its petaloid colorful or petaloid perianth and superior ovary with endospermic seeds. So this is the main characteristic of the series coronary, for in which we will study two families. The first family is Liliaceae, which we will going to study today, and the next we will study the family Comeranaceae, that also belong to the series coronary. So now first start with the series coronary and the family, that is Liliaceae. Now first of all, the distribution of Liliaceae family. Liliaceae family, as I have told, it is also commonly called as lily family, which includes around 16 genera and 635 species, which are worldwide in distribution, especially in the northern hemisphere. As you can see here, these all the red portion showing the distribution of this particular family, lily family. As you can see, it particularly distributed in the northern hemisphere. These are the main regions of this particular family. All over it is distributed worldwide, but the main region is northern hemisphere. And in India, it is also represented by around 169 species, and in our country it particularly occur in the Himalayan region. As we can see, this is the Himalayan region. So these are the main chiefly occurs in the Himalayan region, but it also present in the other part of the country. And the main familiar members of this particular family is like lily, that is botanically called as Lilium species, Dracena, asparagus. So these are the some members which occur commonly in India, and this is the distribution pattern of the family Liliaceae. Now moving towards the characters of the family Liliaceae, starting from the vegetative character, in which habit most of the plants of this particular family are either herbs which perennate by either rhizomes, as in case of aloe, or by the bulbs, as in case of Lilium, tulipa, or they may be tree like Dracena, or climber, as in case of asparagus and smilex. Some plants also xerophytic in nature like yucca, aloe. They have a cladodes like in case of asparagus and ruscus. So you can see there is a quite variation in the habit of this particular farm. They are herbs, tree, climbers, as well as they perennate by rhizome, bulb, sometimes corm also. So they have a quite variation in their habit. So this particular family is showing the quite variation in the habit. They are showing the mostly perennial herbs, but they have a variety of habits from, and they also have adaptation to the xerophytic condition like in case of yucca, aloe, and they also have some modification to adopt in the xerophytic condition like in case of asparagus and ruscus, which have a cladodes, that is the modification of the stem into flat like structure that perform the work of photosynthesis. And the roots of this particular family is fibrous adventitious root, and they sometimes become tuberous, as in case of asparagus, which is edible in nature. So in general they have a quite various habit. This is the showing the image habit of the particularly a plant of this particular family Liliaceae. showing there is a bulbous stem, these are the leaves, and at the tip there is a inflorescence and the leaves are cylindrical fleshy leaves. So, this is the habit of the plant showing in this particular slides, and the roots also has a tuberous, sometime as in case of asparagus, which is edible. If we move towards the stem, as we have discussed earlier, the most of the plants are herbaceous in nature and some are also tree. So, depending upon their habit, the stem is also herbaceous or woody. In general, they are solid, but sometimes they are also fistular. Underground, as when there is a bulb or culm or rhizome, they have a underground stem. Aerial climbing stem, as in case of smilex, or erect. Underground stem may be culm, bulb or rhizome, as you can see here. These are the bulb and culm, which in case of onion and garlic they have a bulb type of stem. So, in ruscus and asparagus, in case of ruscus and asparagus, aerial stems bear cladode, that is the modified leaf like branches, that is the modification of stem that become the flat and perform the work of photosynthesis, and leaf and culm like in case of colchicum, and they also show secondary growth in case of yucca and dracena. So, because this is a monocot plant does not show the secondary growth. These are the yucca and dracena, they are showing the anomalous anatomy and they are showing the secondary growth. So, this is the one of the feature that present in this particular family, that yucca and dracena showing the secondary growth. Then, as we have seen that one of the most important feature of this particular family is their underground stem, in which one is the bulb. Bulb is a large buds with a small stem, as you can see here. There is a small stem at the lower end surrounded by numerous fleshy leaves, as you can see here. These are the fleshy leaves, and they have adventitious root at the base, as you can see here, and the example of bulb is typically a onion, tulip and lily plants. So, this is a tunicated bulb which is present in case of onion that have a covering. So, this is a tunic covering of this particular flower. These are the scale leaves, this is the flower bud which originated from the center, and this is the these are the bubblets which is the compressed stem, and these are the roots, that is the adventitious root. It is a typical example of bulb, that is the onion and tulip, lily. These are the examples of bulb stems. Now, moving towards the next vegetative character, that is leaves. Leaves have a generally arrangement that is alternate type, but they may be vary in opposite, whorled or maybe basal, as in case of lilium. They are maybe colline. In general, they are exstipulate, sessile or maybe petiolate, and they have a sheathing basis, and shape is also variable, like in case of asparagus they have a scale likes, and they may be thick succulents and mucilage in case of aloe, and broad in case of Phormium tenax. So, they also show quite variation in terms of their leaves, from their shape to their morphology, their adaptation nature, like they become succulent in case of aloe, or they have a scale like in case of asparagus. These are the some modification is for the xerophytic adaptation, as in case of asparagus they become scale like, or in case of aloe they are storing the mucilage, that also are xerophytic nature of the aloe, that is store the, these are the succulent plants, and they become broad in case of Phormix. In Smilex they stipulate and are modified into the tendrils, because the Smilex is a climber. So, these stipules become modified into the tendril structure, that is help in the climbing of the particular plant is Smilex, and the venation is usually parallel, but in Smilex it is reticulate in the case of Smilex and Trillium. So, because it is a monocotyledon plant, the leaves generally show the parallel venation, but in case of Smilex and Trillium they show the reticulate venation, and in case of asparagus and ruscus leaves are very much reduced to the scale. So, these are the leaves which are in general simple type, but they also show quite modification, as we have discussed earlier. So, in general they are simple and stipulate leaves, as you can see here they are forming the sheathing base at the base. Now, moving towards the floral characters of the family Liliaceae. Now, moving towards the floral character of the family Liliaceae, starting from the inflorescence. Inflorescence is also quite variable. This particular family, like they have a solitary flower, like in case of Tulipa and Fritillaria, panicle raceme in case of asphodelus, cymosembel in case of smilex, and solitary axillary in case of gloriosa. So, they also show quite variation in case of inflorescence, as we can see here from this particular. As you can see, this is the peduncle, it has a bract, and this showing the inflorescence. There is a bunch of flower that is arranged here. This is the cymosembel type of inflorescence, you can see here, and each flower has its own pedicel. So, this is a peduncle of a particular inflorescence, and this is a single flower, and the flower are generally pedicellate, as you can see here. They are pedicellate, bracteate, actinomorphic in general, sometimes zygomorphic in case of Lilium, Hermocratalis, bisexual or maybe unisexual as in case of Smilex, Ruscus, Hypogynous, complete or incomplete. In general they are trimerous, but sometimes they are bi or tetramerous also, as in case of Menthanum and in Paris. This is a single flower, you can see the flower is typically a pedicellate flower which has a perianth, then it has a stamens as well as gynoecium. So, generally they are bisexual, but sometimes it also showing the unisexual, as in case of Smilex and Ruscus. So, stamens are, they are attached to the tepals, this is termed as the epiphyllus. Now, moving towards the flower, that is the typical lily flower, you can see here they have a 6 tepals which are 3, both the 2 valves are quite distinct, that is why they are termed as the 3 sepals and 3 petals, or sometimes they may be look similar in case. This is a simple flower of the lily, they have a 6 stamens and they have a 3 parted stigma. You have a quite distinct, they which can be visualized. Stigma is divided into 3 lobed or maybe 3 partite, and the fruit is also typically a 3-celled capsule. You can see here the 3 years of ovary showing the 3-celled capsule structure, that showing the axial presentation. So, in general it is a typical lily flower that showing the, typically it is a trimerous flower that has a all the floral part in the multiples of 3. They have a 6 tepals which are arranged in 2 valves, they have a 6 stamens which are also arranged in 2 valves, they have a tricarpalis in carpus superior ovary, and they have a fruit which is capsule, which is 3-celled capsule. So, it is a typical lily flower that representing the characteristic of the family Liliaceae. Now, moving towards the individual floral part, that is starting from the perianth. As we have seen that the perianth is, there are the 6 tepals arranged in 2 valves, in general in 3 in each valves. They all are polyphylous, that means they are free, as in case of Lilium and Tulipa, but sometimes they may be gamophylous, as in case of aloe and asparagus, and they have a various shapes. They may be petaloid, sepaloid, as you can see here they are petaloid in nature, but sometimes they may be sepaloid in nature, or they may be distinct as a sepal and petal. In general they have a imbricate distribution in bud, but usually they have a valvate distribution in the opening of the flower. Perianth may be scarious or may be membranous. You can see here there is a tepals which are totally petaloid in nature. You can see this is a white in color flower, this one is a yellow color flowers. Because of this colorful tepals, these flowers are quite showy, and many of the plants are used as ornamental garden plants. So, these colorful flowers is due to the presence of colorful perianth. This is a quite showy in nature, as we can see here. Now, moving towards the next floral character, that is androecium, which is a male reproductive part of the family Liliaceae, which is also comprised of 6 stamens which is arranged in 2 valves, and in each valve there is a 3 stamens. Now, moving towards the next floral character, that is androecium, which is represented by 6 in number. They are also arranged in 2 valves, and there is a 3 stamen in each valve. They are always opposite to the tepals and sometimes adnate to the perianth, but sometimes they also become 3 in number, as in case of Ruscus. Only there is a presence of 3 fertile stamens and 3 are become the staminodes, and generally they are 6 in numbers, but 8 in case of Paris. All the stamens are polyandrous, that means they are free epiphyllous. They are generally attached to the tepals. Filaments is quite long, as you can see here they have a quite long filament anthers are versatile or maybe dorsifixed. Dithecus, they have a 2 anther lobes. They may be introse or extrose. As in Ruscus, the outer wall of the stamen is reduced to staminodes, so they only have a 3 fertile stamens. So there is a generally they have a 6 number of stamens. They are arranged in 2 walls, but sometimes they may be vary in number. Like in Ruscus, there is only 3 fertile stamens, and in case of Paris, they have 8 stamens. They all are polyandrous, epiphyllous with long filaments, and anthers are versatile and basifixed with dithecus. Now moving towards the next floral character, that is the gynoecium. Gynoecium is typically a tricarpellary syncarpus and made up of a superior ovary. As we have seen, the flower is hypogynous and there is a trilocular or maybe unilocular with ovules, and in general they have a axile presentation. Style is simple, but stigma is trilobed or tripartite. As we can see here clearly, the stigma is tripartite and the position of the ovary is superior. All the floral parts are arranged from the base of this particular ovary. So it is a typical superior ovary and the stigma is tripartite or trilobed in some members. So usually they have a 3 septal nectary at the base of the ovary on each septum, because you can see there is a 3 lobed structure, and the fruit of this particular family is generally loculocidal or septicidal capsule as in case of asphodelus, or maybe berry as in case of asparagus or smilex, and the seed is endospermic and horny or cartilaginous. As you can see, these are the seeds, and you can see they have a trilobed capsule which is splitted by these ends. So this have a typically a endospermic seed. You can see here these are the seeds of this particular fruit, capsule fruit. And if we see the floral formula of this particular family, they have a bract, their symmetry in general they have a actinomorphic symmetry, that means they have a radially arranged flower, regular flowers. The perianth is 6 in number, they are arranged in 3 plus 3 in 2 rows. Similarly, they may be free or may be united, as you can see from these symbols, and Risham number is also 6, they are also arranged in 2 rows, 3 plus 3 in each row, and the gynoecium is generally they are tricarpellary syncarpus with superior ovary. So this is the floral formula of the family Liliaceae, which is represented here. So if we see the diagnostic characters of the family Liliaceae, as we have seen, generally they are herbs and they are rarely shrubs, climbers or maybe trees, but in general they are herbaceous in nature. Stem is underground, it may be rhizome, corm or bulb, so quite variation in the stem, and generally they are underground from rhizome, corm to bulbs. Leaves generally have a alternate arrangement, but they may show the opposite or bulb phyllotaxy also. And flowers are actinomorphic, trimerous and hypogynous, that means superior ovary. They have a perianth is 6 in number, they are arranged in 2 whorls of each 3, which may be fused or may be free. Stamens is also 6 in number, they are also arranged in 2 whorls, they are epiphyllous, that means they are attached to the perianth, and generally they are antiphyllous, that means they are from opposite to the alternate to the petals. Then gynoecium is generally made up of tricarpellary syncarpus with superior ovary, and they have a axile presentation, and they have a 2 to many ovules per locule, and the fruit is capsule generally, but they also have a berry as in case of asparagus, and the seed is endospermic. As you can see here, this is a peppery bract of the flower, they have a green stripe at the petals. You can see here these are the 6 petals which is arranged in the 3 by 3, and the flowers are also on a stalk, that is a pedicellate flower. There is a stem that is growing around 1 to 20, 30 to 30, they have the flowers. So this is particularly showing the characteristic of the family. With here you can see there is a presence of perianth which is 6 in number, which is arranged in 2 whorls. Then they have a petals that is quite showy in nature, they have a bract at the base, it is a bracteate flower as we have discussed earlier. So and the flower is also pedicellate in nature. So this is the diagnostic features or characters of the family Liliaceae. Now moving toward the some common plants of this particular family, like allium, which is cultivated in winter for its bulb. Then aloe, which is a shrubby xerophytic plant that is a wild on rock, while dull red flowers, and aloe are also used as a many medicinal benefits. Then asphodelus, which is common winter weed in wheat fields. Then asparagus, which is a thorny climbing undershrub with cladode and fasciculated root, which is also consumed as a food. Then colchium, which is also called as a meadowsharon. Corn is very useful, it gives the colchicine which is used in the polypody. Then Dracaena, it is a tree which showing the anomalous secondary growth, as we have discussed earlier. The Dracaena and Jacca both show the anomalous secondary growth that is not present in the monocot, but these two plants showing the secondary growth. Then Fritillaria, which is growing as a garden ornamental plant. Then Glorissa, which is also a climber that also grown as a ornamental plant. Then Ruscus, which also their stem is converted into the phylloclade of flat surface, that also grow as a ornamental plant. Smilex is also a climber with stipular tendril and reticulate venation. Then Tulipa, which is a very famous garden ornamental plant, as you can see here, this is the image of Tulipa, and these growing in the winter seasons. So these are some common plants of this particular family, Liliaceae. You can see here this particular family has a many familiar members which we know in day-to-day lives, like aloe and tulipa, ruscus, allium. Allium species we will consume only allium species like allium cepa, allium sativum as a food. So this particular family members have a quite economic importance, we will discuss later. So these are the some common members. You can see the images. This is the Smilex, which is a climbing in nature, and these tendrils are the modifications of the stipules. This is the image of lilium. Then this is the tulip, which shows a beautiful ornamental garden plant, and this is the image of the ruscus. You can see here the fruit is. So these are the some examples of common plants of the family Liliaceae. Now moving towards the floral characteristics represented by the Asphodelus stridifolius. As you can see here, this is the twig, or particularly a flowering twig of this particular plant, Asphodelus. You can see here the stem is typically a bulb. From this there is a arising of the adventitious root. From here you can see the leaves are here arranged in the at the base of the leaves. Then you can see the inflorescence is panicle raceme, which is a branch type raceme. You can see, if you see the single flower, alias of single flower, the floral part arranged in a, there is a tepals, then presence of a stamens, then there is a stigma which is tripartite in nature. And if you see the one gynoecium, you can see this is a typically a superior ovary. Then style, the stigma is lobed, then there is a stamen, you can see the anthers is bilobed. And if we cut the tears of the ovary, you can see there is a 2 ovules per locule. It is a tricarpillary syncarpus and superior ovary. And this is the floral diagram. You can see here the flower is bracteate and the tepal is arranged in 2 valves, 3 and 3, that showing the volute estivation, and the tepals are free, they are polyphylous, that arranged in 2 valves. The stamens also in 6 number, they are also arranged in 2 valves. As you can see here, they are antiphylous, and this is the tears of ovary, they are showing the axial presentation and 2 locules in each. So this is floral parts of the Asphodelus representing all the characteristics of the family Liliaceae. Now moving towards the next common plant of this particular family, that is the Allium cepa, which is also commonly called as the onion. We are quite familiar with the onion, and we daily use in our food, and we use onion in our daily basis in our food as a salad. So you can see this is also have a tunicated bulb, which is a underground stem. This is the reduced stem from which the adventitious root arises. This is the leaf, and this is the bunch of inflorescence. You can see here this is a monochasial cyme type of inflorescence, and if we see there is a bract at the base of this particular, and there is a pedicel. You can see ovaries superior in position, this is the perianth, and then there is a And stamens, you can see they have a quite long filament, then stigma that has a lobed structure, you can see here. So, you can see this is the habit or twig of the plant, this is the whole inflorescence, this is the LS of the flower, and if you see this is a single flower that is showing the all the 6 tepals, 6 stamens, and there is a trilobed stigma here. You can see perianth, anthers and stigma. This is the TS of the ovary that is showing the axile presentation, and each locule which has a 2 ovules, and this is the single pistil that showing the trilobe structure that converted into the capsule, and this is the fruit that floral diagram that typically showing that is you can see they have a valvate estivation, and they are showing they are gamophilous in nature with bracteate. So, you can see their flower is bracteate. In general, they are ebracteolate showing the regular symmetry, that means they are actinomorphic bisexual, and perianth is 3+3 and they are gamophilous, and endoecium is 3+3 and they are epiphyllous in nature, and the gynoecium is made up of tricarpellary syncarpous superior ovary. As you can see, they have a underlined in these 3. So, this is the floral parts of the most common plant, that is the Liliaceae is commonly called as onion. So, now moving towards the economic importance of the family Liliaceae. Starting from the in food, as we have discussed earlier, generally they have a now discuss the economic importance of the family Liliaceae. This particular family has a many economic importance. Now, starting from the food, the fleshy shoots of Asparagus officinalis used as a vegetable. Beside this, many other Allium species like Liliaceae which is called as onion, and Allium sativa which is called as a garlic. These are also have used as a food in the as a salad or in the spices. Beside this particular family has a many medicinal benefits like Smilex, Aloe, Gloriosa, Veratrum, Colchicum, Slica, Origenia. These all yields are useful drugs. Then aloe vera yields a alkaloid, that is aloin, which is used in the treatment of piles and fissures. And then the roots of Asparagus racemosus yield a particular tonic. Then corm and seeds of Colchicum luteum are used in rheumatism and liver diseases. Then an alkaloid which is obtained from the colchicum, that is colchicine, that is used to induce the polyploidy in plant breeding, because it arrests the cell cycle at anaphase phase. So, there will be no separation of the chromosome, and that will induce the polyploidy. And besides this, they also have many benefits, like they also used as a fibers like yucca, phormium, yield fibers of commercial use in cordage. Then some plant also use resin like Dracaena and Xanthorrhiza, they yield resin. From the acrid resin of Xanthorrhiza, a sealing wax is prepared. Then beside this, they have a many ornamental plants like Tulipa, Lilium, Gloriosa, Aloe, Ruscus, Dracaena, Asparagus, Yucca, Hermocalis. These all are the numerous ornamental plants that obtained from this particular family, which is used in the garden as ornamental plants. So, this is the economic importance of this particular family. Besides this, the verbatim breeding, which is called as the false hellebore, it is a toxic member of this particular family, Liliaceae family, that is the verbatim, that is also called as the false hellebore. Now, moving towards the primitive characters of the family Liliaceae. As we have seen, many of the plants are perennials and they have a perennial and arboreal habit in some genera, like in case of aloe and yucca. Leaves are generally simple and spirally arranged in most of the genera. They have a solitary flower in some genera. Flowers are bisexual and actinomorphic. This is also a primitive characters, and flowers are quite large and hypogynous in nature. This is also one of the primitive character of this particular family. And then perianth is polyphyllous in case of Asphodelus, Veratrum. This is also a primitive character, and the seeds are endospermic in nature. And if we see the advanced characters, they are also showing the quite many advanced characteristics in this particular family, like many plants are herbaceous, as we have seen earlier. Their leaves are exstipulate, they have a opposite or whorled in some genera. Flowers are zygomorphic in some genera like Lilium, Hermocalis, and the flowers also are unisexual in case of Ruscus and in Smilex. Perianthus gamophilous in many genera. Stamens are epiphyllous in nature, and they are also reduced into 3 in case of Ruscus. Their carpus is also 3 to 2, and they are a syncarpus, and they are showing the axial presentation. So you can see they also have a quite advanced characteristics also. And if we see the affinities of Liliaceae family, as we have discussed earlier, the Emeraldaceae family, you can see this particular family is also showing many similarities with the Emeraldaceae family, and the distinguish between this particular family is the presence of superior ovary and the absence of corona in Liliaceae. So this is the quite two distinguished features of Liliaceae from the Emeraldaceae. This is the presence of superior ovary and absence of corona, and all the characters, if you see, they are quite similar with the Emeraldaceae family, and it is also very close to the Juncaceae, as both the seeds have a albinum, but they differ from the Juncaceae in their petaloid perianth, because you can see in this particular family Liliaceae they have a quite showy perianth, and the families account for the marked variabilities in cytological, embryological and anatomical structures, appears to be polyphylogenetic in origin. Then Liliaceae is regarded as a typical monocot family that represent a basic monocot stock from which many families have arisen. As you can see, it is a typically a trimerous flowers which have all the floral parts, that is multiples of 3. They have a quite version. This is the superior ovary, from you can see there is a hypogynous flower. From this particular, this is a typical monocot family that has a leaf sheathing basis. So you can see from here many families has been arisen, and this is a typically a monocot family that representing the characteristics of the typical monocot plants. So in conclusion, we can see Liliaceae or lily family is relatively a small family consisting of plants with various morphological differences. As we have seen, they have a quite difference in habit, they have a quite different types of adaptations, they are some xerophytic, they are some climbers. So they also have a showing quite different habit, their variation in the stem, their leaves also showing the quite variations. Then flower also, there are some unisexual, some bisexual. Inflorescence is also quite variable. In some there is a panicle raceme, in some there is a solitary flowers. So they have a quite variation in this particular family, and the some common characters of this family is the presence of a large showy flower. That's why this particular family is used as a garden ornamental. They have undifferentiated petals and sepals. They are arranged in dual whorls or in 2 whorls. They have a 6 stamens and ovary that is present in the superior position. This is the characteristic of the family Liliaceae, and the plant that belong to the Liliaceae are one of the earliest monocot plants. So as we have learned, this particular family Liliaceae is showing the typical characteristics of the monocot family. So that's all for today. Next we will learn about the another plant of the series, coronary. So that's all for today. Thank you all for the joining this session. That's all.